Hello, and welcome to the Gamers Reality Podcast, based off the gamers-reality.com website and Scrimma Games Gamers Reality YouTube channel. We're here to talk about all things gaming. I am your host, Kevin Scrimma. Hey everyone, how's it going this week? It's the middle of September, and this is episode 6 of the Gamers Reality Podcast. We're going to be talking about Destiny 2 Forsaken, the September Nintendo Direct, Jump Force, a little bit about Elgato's 4K 60 Pro capture card and Xbox One X, and I'm sure a few other side things. Alright, we potentially have a lot we can talk about, so let's get started. Destiny 2 is back. Let me tell you, I was so close to giving up on this game. When Destiny 2 came out, it was good. When the other DLCs came out, Osiris and Warmind, I really didn't care that much. Osiris had the very small area and just repetitive areas to go through, and Warmind had a bigger area, but it also felt like the content was just reused. Like for the missions in the campaign, they would take you through the same areas, they would just change it up a bit with enemies or different tasks, and that got boring. Basically, it felt like that the enemies and the grinding was the bulk of the content. With Destiny 2 Forsaken, Bungie did such a great job. I was the one who used to be obsessed with this game from Destiny 1, and it was kind of ironic when I told my younger half-brother Dawson that I didn't think I was going to get the Forsaken DLC. It felt like I've given the game too many chances, and I didn't want to be tricked again and give Bungie $40 just to play the DLC for 10 or 15 hours. They took days of playtime away from me on this one. With Forsaken, this game feels fun again. It feels like there's a lot to do. The map is loaded with places and activities. There are 2 brand new patrol areas called Tangled Shore and Dreaming City, and these areas are sizable, which is exactly what the game needs when there's a DLC, not this little patch of land and repetitive areas to go through like in Osiris. My main is a Titan on my Xbox One X, and I got his light level at about 526 right now. The new super abilities were very much needed. I am loving the Thunder Crash super, where you hurtle through the air like a missile and just crash into enemies. You can get a ton of speed and distance with this super. You can slide as you pick up ammo to instantly reload your weapons. You have this melee ability, Ballistic Slam, which is basically a very mini version of the super, and you can get super energy from destroying enemies with it. Every time I use this super, it feels so amazing every time. I love it. That's exactly the kind of supers we need in this game. I'm glad I chose right the first time around, because I still don't have any seeds to unlock my other new supers for my other 2 subclasses. I've been able to use this super to cover vast distances if I needed to. If I was about to fall off the map or miss a platform, I could use it to get back on land. And of course it can be used to demolish lots of enemies or easily dispatch other guardians. It's best to activate it when you're already in the air. In Gambit, basically this PvPvE mode, this guardian invaded as soon as I got in the lift, and I saw him far away on a platform to my left. I instinctively activated my super, and the super halted me from the usual force of the platform movement. Then my guardian just went soaring to the warlock who already used his super, and I crushed him. Moments like that feel great. I have a video of that on our YouTube channel, Scrimma Games Gamers Reality, if you're interested in checking it out. Let's talk about the story mode real quick, because it was a vast improvement compared to the other 2 DLCs. What happened in those ones, I played through them and I was kinda like, I'm done. And I barely touched Destiny 2 after completing those campaigns. Not the case with Destiny 2 Forsaken. I'm still playing the game. I'm going to be discussing story and spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled by the story, just skip ahead by about 3 or 4 minutes. So the DLC starts you going to the Prison of Elders with Cayde 6 and Petra Venj to basically stop this jailbreak that Uldren Sov and the Barons organized. It's just another day at the office, like Cayde 6 says, or, well, it's supposed to be. But this mission that's supposed to be routine and easy goes wrong, and Cayde 6 gets separated from the Guardian and Petra. One of the Barons snipes Cayde's ghost, and with the ghost dead, that means that Guardian can no longer be resurrected. With such a terrible defensive flaw in the ghosts, you would think they would have better defenses or be sturdier or something. But for the plot, Uldren takes Cayde's Ace of Spades hand cannon and shoots him with it. The Guardian carries Cayde's body back to the tower, and Ikora and Zavala hold a private funeral for him. Ikora wants to send every Guardian after Uldren, but Zavala wants Guardians to stay safe at the tower. The Guardian, your character, our character, decides to break his vow of silence that he apparently took in Destiny 2 and verbally volunteers to avenge Cayde 6. The Guardian goes to the Tangled Shore and is contacted by Petra, who introduces him to the Spider, basically a fallen crime leader. This new branch of the Fallen, the Scorn, took the Spider's home away from him, so with the common enemy in mind, he's willing to negotiate and do some give and take with the Guardian. There are cutscenes of Aldrin that shows him communicating with the Scorn and Baron leaders, and he has this vision of his sister, Mara Sov, talking to him, but it's apparent he has been corrupted by the darkness, or the Taken. Aldrin acquires a shard of the Traveler from the European Dead Zone while the Guardian tracks down and kills 7 Barons. When you're hunting the Barons, they're not missions, they're adventures and bounties, which makes it interesting because they're like short missions. Petra informs the Guardian that Aldrin is going to the Awoken Watchtower in the Tangled Shore. Together and with the help of the Spider's minions, the Guardian eliminates the final Baron and ventures through the Watchtower and the Ascendant Realm, which was opened by Aldrin when he offered the shard in his darkness to open the gateway. But Aldrin is pulled in by the voice of Riven instead of Mara. The Guardian defeats the monster, Aldrin is weakened on the ground, and the Guardian retrieves the Ace of Spades, and along with Petra, they aim their weapons at Aldrin, who says he did all this for his sister, even though he was only being manipulated by Riven. It's unsure who kills him, but we can assume either or both shot Aldrin. The Guardian and Petra repair this Awoken talisman with both light and dark energies and gain access to the Awoken homeland, the Dreaming City, where Petra uses a device to try and contact Mara Sov, who is discovered to be alive and was trapped in the Ascendant Realm during the Taken War. The Queen reveals that her brother and many other Awoken were corrupted by Riven, the last living Ahamkara, who was taken by orcs. The Queen tells Petra to open the Dreaming City to Guardians, much like she once opened the Reef, so they can help her. A group of Guardians then venture in a raid to kill Riven, which releases a curse on the Dreaming City, and that's currently where we're at. There's some pretty good coherence with the story. The missions were fun, the areas were beautiful. You have this beautiful purple area for the Tangled Shore, and with the Dreaming City, you have like this magnificent Wizard of Oz world that's connected to this evil, nonsensical Ascendant Realm. The Dreaming City is one of the many best places I've laid eyes on in a video game, so kudos to the artists and those who designed this area. All of the Barons were amusing and unique. They made fun of the player and provoked the Guardian by talking bad about Cayde, like one lying about how Cayde begged for mercy, just talking smack a lot of the time. Things like that were really nice touches. The Trickster Baron, who had all this fake stuff lying around, exotic engrams, heavy ammo, even the resources, that was really great. My one Destiny friend who was helping me with the campaign was like, "Look, an exotic engram, Kevin, go get it." I picked it up and it started to flash as if to blow up, and I'm like, what is this? And of course it wasn't an exotic engram. Exotic? I'm coming. Oh my god, you aren't lying. Wait. It's gonna blow up?
If a shipment of these rigged engrams ever made it to the last city,
I was so happy.
can't let that happen.
Let me guess, that's not heavy ammo either, Trickster. You think I'm dumb? No, I saw static. I'm like, wait. I was worried about updating all the exotics with the complex upgrade system they have in the game, but there's a collection tab now, which I love. And you can reclaim any gear from a previous season as long as you have obtained it. And you can get an updated exotic weapon or armor piece a little bit below your highest light level for 777 Glimmer, 7 Legendary Shards, and 7 Gunsmith materials. WTF, Bungie. What's up with you and the number 7? Geez, I just noticed that. That's kind of funny. Bungie is so obsessed with this number and it's great. Anyway, you can dismantle your previous exotics and easily update them by obtaining them from collections, which is really nice. I like it because it really satisfies that collection obsession for a lot of gamers, so you know what you have and don't have. And if you dismantled something you thought you didn't want, you can always get it back. They also introduced a Triumphs tab. Basically, you can earn little things like I think emblems sometimes and points by completing these, and by completing certain tasks and getting a certain score, you can unlock free or discounted stuff or rewards in the Bungie store, which is kinda cool. Some of the new exotics are pretty awesome. I recently got the Two-Tailed Fox, which is a really nice double-tracking rocket launcher that packs quite a punch. I'm still working on the Crucible tournament for the shotgun, gotta get some Crucible hand cannon precision kills for the Ace of Spades, and I now have to find nodes and do escalation protocol for that sleeper simulant gun. So this expansion also made me interested in some previous exotic quests I didn't care for. After a group of Guardians completed the Last Wish raid, it unlocked a new mission in Strike, which was pretty awesome. It took the first raid group, I think, like over 18 hours. Based on some of the articles I've seen. The raid was unlocked at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means they were raiding until 7 or 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to try and be world's first, because we all know how important it is to be first in anything. The recommended light level is 550, which is pretty punishing because you basically need to play every day to grind up to that. Only 12 people beat the raid in the first 24 hours. 12 people. That's insane. Those people had a lot of free time, or at least enough to do some prime engram farming. Ha. It feels like there's so much to do in the game, and it's actually fun though. You can get bounties from NPCs, you complete tasks which grant you rewards and things like missions, strikes, Crucible, Gambit, which all has its own dailies and weeklies where you can get rewards from. You have a prime engram buff each day that helps you find a prime engram, which is really what gets your light level up, and you can also do so from acquiring powerful gear. Bungie did an extra good job this time, giving players incentive to play more. Gambit has been the funnest mode they've added, and it's really been one of the funnest modes I've seen in a video game since Battle Royale. Anyway, there are 3 different maps now. One of them is based off the Dreaming City, and it's freaking gorgeous. And you basically kill enemies, they drop motes that you gotta deposit in the bank, and a certain amount of motes will send either a small, medium, or large blocker that blocks the opponent's bank. So you're racing to finish against this other team who also has their own map and group of enemies. Every now and then a portal will open up, where one Guardian can enter and be transported to the other side to defeat those Guardians and eliminate those who have the highest motes to delay their progress. After the max limit is reached in the bank, it summons a Primeval and other enemies you gotta kill before the other team. If an invader kills you, it heals to Primeval, so there's surprisingly a decent amount of strategy in this game type, which I like. And the Drifter guy who voices all the stuff that happens in Gambit, he's such a cool character. Hopefully they leave him around for a while. It was pretty disappointing to have such a cool character like Cade go. I mean, I truly didn't realize how awesome he was until they killed him off. But that was the idea, to get rid of someone everyone actually cares about. I somehow never get tired of when the Drifter says, "Alright, alright, alright."
Alright. Let's see what we've got.
And he has some cool lines like, "You didn't start that fight, but you finished it." I need to again mention how awesome the Dreaming City's architecture is. It's just so beautiful and fantastical. I just had this Wizard of Oz vibe. And I can't forget to mention the musical score of Destiny 2 Forsaken. It's just so well done, and the music is a pleasure to listen to. I mean, just listen to this song. You can't tell me this doesn't make whatever you're currently doing feel epic. Wasn't that awesome? I feel like I'm getting distracted because there's so much to talk about, so I'm bouncing around a lot, but I think that's another reason Destiny 2 feels fun this time around. Everything's fun, you can go do this or you can go do that, and you feel powerful this time. There's more flexibility in choices with weapon slots, the new Titan Arc Super is epic, the older areas are useful because you have to go back and grind for resources through bounties, the weapons are fun, it's just an overall good time. Now, it felt like that with a lot of Destiny 1 DLCs, like that honeymoon phase where it was good for the first few weeks or month or two and then it got old. Whether that'll happen with this DLC or not, only time will tell. But I think this DLC should hold out at least for a month or so for most. And of course Bungie is releasing more content later this year anyway. A raid that took 18 hours to do the first time does not sound appealing. I would hope if everyone is at a higher power level and knows what they're doing, it would take maybe at least 8 hours or so, but I'm not looking forward to it taking weeks to get the new raid completed. I would recommend not going into the raid until your light level is 540 or ideally 550. it's just going to save a lot of time, because in the end it's a numbers game and you don't want the numbers to be against you in combat. The thing that saved Destiny 2 when it was getting boring due to a lack of content or just bad content was the gunplay. Bungie did a great job at making fun shooter games where the gun combat is amazing. With this expansion, the gunplay is even more fun because the content is actually good this time around. I wondered why Queen Mara didn't communicate with Aldrin, if she knew he died, or if she knew Riven was behind it, or if he was obsessed with finding her. I'm not sure if that's a plot hole, or if she just had no way of communicating with him, but whatever. I also played through the whole DLC with the Xbox One X. The higher resolution and 4K graphics makes a world of difference. Pun intended. Everything looks so much more realistic, and it just makes the experience better and more immersive. 4K is the way Destiny 2 is meant to be played. They also have stuff I wanted from Eververse. The new Dragonfly armor I want so badly because it just looks freaking cool. I love the new standoff emote, and I finally got the poultry petting chicken emote. Just randomly petting that pink chicken is so great. You can almost hear the Guardian whispering to that scared pink chicken, "It's okay. Everything's going to be okay." I also like the rare do not want emote. It's just so funny. It's as if somebody randomly pulls down their pants or he got some really bad loot, and he's reacting by turning his head and waving his arms in the air like crazy. I love it. Next to the chicken emote, my new favorite emote, hands down. We'll have to stay tuned and see how this expansion continues to turn out. Moving on to the 2018 September Nintendo Direct. They announced Nintendo Switch Online, basically a $20 yearly subscription for online play, NES games, cloud data save storage backup, to use the voice chat on the smartphone app, and other special offers. We're basically paying for better servers for them to make the service better, NES games, etc. Now, when Nintendo includes Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube games, that would be awesome to have on the Switch. You listening, Nintendo? You're missing out on a big opportunity there. So when Nintendo showed Luigi in a freaky mansion in a previous Direct for Smash Bros. Ultimate, I said in one of the previous podcasts, this makes me want a Luigi's Mansion for Switch. And lo and behold, they announced Luigi's Mansion 3 for Nintendo Switch. I was so surprised and so pumped. Luigi's Mansion was like one of my favorites and surprise favorites. I did not play the second one on DS, but this may be an incentive to do so. In Luigi's Mansion 3, I want to see huge mansions, post-game content, different costumes and characters and dances, DLC, online multiplayer, mini-games. Okay, I might be joking about some of that stuff, maybe not, I don't know, but I'm just pumped for this game to be on Switch, because it's going to look and play so good. Nintendo is doing a good job bringing games that people want to play. The new character for Smash Bros. Ultimate they teased was Isabelle, which was kind of a surprise addition out of any character they could have added to this game, I guess. It started with me thinking that of course they announced Animal Crossing for Switch, but it turned out to be an announcement that Isabelle has been invited to Smash. But after that, they teased that Animal Crossing is indeed coming to Switch. They really wanted to put their audience on an emotional roller coaster ride on that one. The last Animal Crossing game I truly played to the fullest was the one on the GameCube. I remember that being so fun, so it's going to be awesome to have the game on the Switch where you can play it at home or on the go. The online multiplayer and visiting other towns will really make that game shine. They announced New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which arrives January 11th, and it also has the Luigi mode and stages, another Wii U port because not many people got to play some of these awesome games since many didn't get a Wii U. The Wii U was one of the very few Nintendo systems I decided to never buy. It didn't appeal to me for whatever reason. They announced Yoshi's Crafted World. I'm excited for a Yoshi game on Switch. How can you not love that cute little adorable dinosaur? They showed a little bit of Pokemon Let's Go. They got rid of HMs, thank goodness, since that was one of the worst parts of Pokemon games, having to juggle HM slaves. That really brought the spirit that Pokemon are your friends, but a couple are just your HM slaves. Pikachu can learn a special move like Splishy Splash, and Eevee can learn Buzzy Buzz, and a bunch more of other baby-sounding move names. I mean, I understand this game's target audience is younger kids, but do they really have to go with toddler-sounding move names? I mean, just say these move names yourself. Splishy Splash, Buzzy Buzz. Oh well, it's no big deal. This game is looking phenomenal. I know plenty of the fan base is complaining that it's not a typical Pokemon game with no random wild encounters, weakening and catching the normal way, but instead catching them in a Pokemon Go-like fashion, but it's still going to be a good game in the series, no doubt about that. I'm excited to use Mew throughout the whole game if they let us. Mew is one of my favorites. Just to have him follow and float around behind me is going to be awesome. If it's possible to get a shiny blue Mew in the game, I will be ecstatic. They mentioned some other games, but these are mainly the ones I care about. Still waiting for Starlink so I can play as Star Fox, and for Super Mario Party so I can actually play another decent or phenomenal Mario Party game again. Okay. Jump Force. They announced a character that I cannot believe they announced, which is just why I have to mention it in this podcast episode. They announced freaking Yami Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! Think about that. Yami Yugi for a fighter game. I'm assuming he'll play like how Pokemon Trainer plays in Smash, but either way, I am pumped that he's in the game. He is another favorite character of mine. Apparently, he's going to challenge everyone to a children's card game to take them down. This can be both awesome and funny at the same time. I can just imagine him confronting Frieza and saying, "It's time to do." Frieza would be like, "Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi." Yugi would respond,
"My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards."
And he banishes Frieza to the Shadow Realm. Oh, the possibilities with this, and if they can somehow allow Yugi to use traps and magic cards to help out his monsters like the Dark Magician, that would be so freaking awesome. Or if his cards or summons are randomized and you can battle characters like Frieza with Little Kuribo, or even fuse certain characters if he draws the fusion card. Like I said, so many possibilities with this character. If they do this right, he's going to be an awesome character to play. Lastly, moving on to Elgato's 4K60 Pro capture card. It's like almost $400 and I got it since I had the Xbox One X so I can play, record, and stream in the 4K resolution. In a previous podcast, I told how I traded my original Xbox One at GameStop for the Xbox One X and they just happened to have Project Scorpio editions. I had to install this capture card in my Alienware Area 51R2. And with the design, it was really annoying to get that plugged into a PCI port. But it's been running great and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I wouldn't make the leap from one of their previous capture cards to 4K unless you stream or record a lot of the 4K games you play. As of right now, would I recommend it if you do a lot of 4K content? Sure. But that price point is kind of, well, pricey. The software they provide is pretty bare bones right now, but I mainly use XSplit anyway. There's plenty of awesome games and more content coming out later this year, so we're going to have plenty to talk about video game-wise these next coming months. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Whatever platform you're using to listen to the podcast, feel free to subscribe and write a review. It really is a big help for everyone involved. You can check out any show notes on our website, gamers-reality.com. Feel free to sign up for the free newsletter there, and you'll receive free stuff from me and be the first to know when I upload a podcast. You can also check out the podcast YouTube channel, Scrim of Games, Gamers Reality, where I stream games, make game reviews, have game thesis episodes, video game motivation episodes, and much more. It's Scrim of Games just for Twitch and Mixer, and also for my Facebook page and Xbox Gaming Tag. You can follow me on Twitter at Kevin Scrima. And last, if you're enjoying all the content I'm putting out there for the YouTube channel, blog, podcast, and whatnot, please consider becoming a supporter by becoming a patron at patreon.com/gamersreality. Donating just $1 a month will help cover the costs of keeping things up and running. Doing all of this certainly costs money, such as for hosting platforms, but I have a lot of fun and enjoy giving content to you guys. Simply put, your donations will allow me to make even more content for you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and listening, and I'll see you next time. Peace.